What's going on, everybody? I'm Primalliquid and welcome to my guide for Atelier Ryza 3. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create the ultimate perfect weapon for Empel. And trust me, he is ridiculously overpowered, okay? The only problem is, in order to create this weapon, we are going to need some very specific traits, and they are incredibly difficult to actually get, okay? So the traits that we are going to need, let me just show you because I do have them on Ryza. So the traits that we are going to need are the risk boost fire, risk boost ice. Now what I would suggest doing actually is having risk boost fire and ice on Ryza, and then go for risk boost lightning and risk boost air on Empel instead. This way you've got fire and ice on Ryza and bolt and air on Empel. What these do is they increase air damage or bolt damage up to 50%. This means if you use a dual element item, you're effectively doubling its damage. Well, technically a little bit more since these are not additive, they are multiplicative. So these are incredibly good traits. The only problem is, if you notice down in the transfer category, they can only go on weapons. This means you cannot put them on ingots or philosopher's stones or things like that, so you have no way of duping them. What this means also, in order to get them in a relatively decent quantity, you are going to have to create a very special seed, okay? Now, we do need the trait level up XXL ability to make sure they are decently leveled when we get them on items, ideally at least level 15 to 20 per item. However, if you create a perfect seed, such as this S-rank water seed right here, you will not get the traits, okay? We need them in a high level, but they are a low tier trait. What this means is we need to create well, ideally a mystic seed. Now, I'm not sure if it's the rare gather rate up that affects the trait level or the actual rank of the seed. I have not got around to testing that. However, I can confirm that with an A rank seed without the rare gather rate up, you will get the traits, okay? However, you are going to need mystic seeds for this to get elixirs and mysterious items with the traits on. They are the most common seeds. Now, we are going to create the Genesis staff for him. Why? Because of the first ability, reduces item wait time and reduces CC consumption of items by 2. This is insane. He can literally just spam items like no tomorrow. With this effect, you can literally use the strongest attack item in the game that deals over 500,000 damage for 1 CC. If you boost his CC abilities as well, you'll be able to throw out 3 or even 4 of them as soon as the battle starts, dealing millions of damage incredibly easily. Now, the second ability is Mark of Aggression. We can completely ignore that. We're not going to bother with that at all. We're actually going to change that to something else. So, let's start, shall we? So, straight off the bat, we are going to use a Grand Organ. Now, I did mention the traits earlier, okay? I do not have those traits on an ingot because they cannot be put on an ingot. Likewise, unfortunately, I don't have them on an elixir. I did use all of mine from water items for Ryza, so the only ones I could do are fire and bolt, but even then I can't even max out bolt, unfortunately. These traits are really annoying to get, but they are incredibly overpowered for item users, so they can be worth the time. What I would suggest doing is, for the elixirs, okay, use risk boost bolt and risk boost air. That is incredibly important. And then for the final trait, I would actually strongly suggest using something like Lone Wolf Spirit, which does reduce your magic resistance by 1 level, but it does increase the AP gained from normal attacks. That is pretty decent if you need a little bit more AP, or, you know, you could go with another element boosting trait if you want. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just drop a couple of ingots in, and we're also going to link morph the Underworld Crystal. Now, Empel is a item user. He is an alchemist. So what we want to do is we want to change it to item boost. For this, you are going to need an inverted scale. Now, with changing that, we've changed that ability to items enhance 20%. This is going to make your items 20% stronger, okay? It's incredibly, incredibly potent. Then what we're going to do, because the weapon is already a high level weapon, we are going to go ahead and drop a Philosopher's Stone in there. That just gives us a few extra levels. Well, not a few extra levels, it gives us the abilities without really taking up too much quantity. This means now all we have to do is drop one elixir there in item rebuilding to get all the other effects, basically. And that is exactly what we're going to do. This way, we can go ahead and drop more grand organs in. However, we are also going to use a secret key. Now, because Empel is a alchemist, he is an item user, we are going to use quantity up al. This is going to give us more quantity for putting more grand organs into the weapon, which will increase all of his stats. We could do an individual stat. We could use HP increase XXL for 100 HP, or we could use attack, defense, or speed increase effects as well, but the highest tier effect for them is only 50. With him being an alchemist, I would rather have him being more all-round, so we're just going to use quantity up so we can dump grand organs in for a huge, huge stat boost across the board. Now, as I mentioned, I unfortunately do not have the proper traits that I want to use on this weapon. I 100% suggest using Risk Boost Bolt and Risk Boost Air. Just farm them with my Mystic Seeds. It will take a bit of time to get them, but it is well worth the effort. And if you've seen my Ryza weapon video, you will see just how drastically they increase the damage. And then for your final trait, you know, you can use Lone Wolf Spirit if you're going to attack with him. Or if you want, you could use Status Charge ++ for a little bit extra stats. That's actually what I'm going to do right here, just because, you know, we might as well get a little bit more stats for him. He's not really going to do any attacking anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. And then I'm just going to throw Lone Wolf Spirit on because, you know, why not? And Mana Heat, just because, again, why not? I don't have the proper traits for this. I am going to have to farm them out at a later time, but at the very least, for the purpose of this video, I can still proceed on and show you guys what to do. I can always come back and rebuild the weapon later with the correct traits. So now we are going to go ahead and finish the synthesis off. I know there is no super trait. We're going to add that currently. So now with item rebuild, we're going to select the weapon and we're going to go to the elixir section here and we're just going to drop in another Philosopher's Stone. This is going to give us all of the abilities now. So what we want to do now is do one final check, just make sure every ability is learned and mastered, which it is. So now it is time to get our super trait. So for super trait, what I'm going to do is we are going to filter, okay, and we are going to use Ruxosha. The reason we're going to use Ruxosha is because this will be a massive increase in damage. Yes, it decreases all resistances, but when everything dies in a single item use anyway, it doesn't really matter. And yes, this does increase item damage as well. That's why we are using it. It is a huge, huge damage increase. So now with that thrown in there, we can go ahead and synthesize. Again, my weapon level is only 64, so when I finally get the proper traits, I can always come back and rebuild it properly. So what we're going to do now is we are going to select the normal trait and we're going to select the Ruxosha super trait and we are going to confirm that. And now it is time to go and rebuild the weapon. Sorry, not rebuild it. It is time to go and reinforce it. And that is exactly what we are going to do. So head on over to the forge and select the weapon in question. Now, since Empel is a alchemist, he is an item user. We are obviously going to boost his damage with items. So what we are going to need first is I am going to have to duplicate something. We are going to need to duplicate a mystic robe. The reason for that is the Mystic Robe will give us an effect which boosts all elemental damage. Extremely, extremely worth it, okay? As I said, the best attack items in the game are dual element. So this is just going to give us an extra boost for both of those elements. Now, we do already have 2 effects on the weapon, so we can only add 2 effects with reinforcement. 4 color feather is one of them, which increases fire, ice, bolt, and air elemental damage. And then the other one is actually going to be unchanging form. This comes from an ancient bug, and what it does is it increases core item damage and grants additional AP when using a core item. And now we have all of our effects. So now it's just coming down to status increases. For this one, choose what you want. You can either do HP, you can do attack, you can do defense, or you can do speed. It is entirely up to you. I'm personally going to use a dragon egg here, simply due to the fact it is the most all-around stat increase. So with that selected, we can now confirm. We are going to have to select the traits once more. So let's go ahead and do that. And there we go. The final result is unfortunately not correct because the stats are higher than they should be because we do not have the correct traits. But that is, in general, how to create the ultimate weapon for Empel and do insane damage with him. And in fact, what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to swap over to Ryza right now as my main party lead. And we are going to go and I'm just going to show you how much damage Empel will do. His weapon would basically deal the same damage as Ryza if you built him properly with the correct traits. So we are on charismatic difficulty, which I'll show you after this fight. Let's go ahead and use a sway resonance. It is resisted though. Keep that in mind when you see the damage count here. Remember, Ryza does have the correct traits. Unfortunately, the weapon, the item in question here does not. So this can be even stronger. But look at the damage. So 289,000 damage when it is resisted, and I have the wrong traits on there. Empel will be doing the same damage there. The only difference is he would use the other item in question, which is the where are you? There, the cross judgments, which is bolt and air. That's why I said if you use Ryza with fire and ice to use the sway resonance, you can use Empel with cross judgment. But again, both of those have the wrong traits on, so I can't actually show off the full damage potential. But though, everybody, that is going to be the end of this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and I really hope it has helped. If it has, then please be sure to smash that like button, and of course, drop a comment down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I have absolutely tons of Ryza free guides coming for you guys, and you will not want to miss them. As always, though, everybody, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.